Well, hello everyone. Welcome to How Do You Solve a Problem Like Mariah? My name is Mariah, creator of this podcast. And as my brother has said, spoiler alert, you can't. So thanks for that, Campbell. Anyway, I work in PR and communication and I just love to talk rubbish. So I thought no better way than to start my own podcast. So right now you'll see me tucked in my walk-in wardrobe with my dressing gown on and my blanket on. And yeah, we'll see how this goes. So I think I just want to start off this podcast with each week, hopefully, with a hot tip. So before we get into it, I'll give you my hot tip. And it's to put the podcast that you're listening to right now, or any podcast that you listen to, on times 1.5 listening. So this means that essentially you can listen to podcasts quicker. And if you're like me, time savers are lifesavers. So to do this, if you're on the iTunes app, I'm really not sure how to do it on others, so you might have to Google that. But just on the iTunes in the bottom left corner, you'll see it's probably on 1 times, so I'll have 1 and an X. But if you just click it one more time, or even another time, it'll go to 1.5 or 2, but I find 1.5 is a lot easier. So if you do like to save time, it's a great way, and you can get most 40-minute episodes in 25, which is great. So a little bit about me in terms of why I really want to do this, and I honestly believe my purpose in life is to tell a story to inform the world. Hence why I studied journalism and why I work in public relations and communication. So I also just love telling people stories in general, no matter how stupid they are. And I'm sure if you listen to this for the series of however long I do it for, you'll see how much I like to tell nonsense stories. So yeah, given that you listen. So each podcast, I'll probably just talk about what's going on in the world, in my world, in other people's worlds. So I will also try and have people on for a chat, people in my life, or who knows, we could meet some exciting people along the way. And also what I've just decided to add is if I'm anywhere, I've got my phone, I'm obviously recording this on my phone, so I'll try and record some things during each fortnight and put it in. So yeah, let's get stuck into it. Firstly, I really want to talk about what's happening in the news at the moment. I don't want to go into too much detail, but we have a new Prime Minister. And now, like I said, politics are a touchy subject, so I don't really want to chat about that because it creates a whole new issue. But I do want to express my thoughts on voting and how important I actually think voting is. I think before you start to vote, it's just important to research, and obviously it's not a massive interest in my life, but I think it's important that we actually take the time to look at who's running our country and actually really think about who we want to, based on what they believe in, what they want to bring in. And as you see in the US, Donald Trump gets elected because people actually don't vote, and that's what potentially happens in Australia. People get elected because we don't actually take the time to vote or research who we're going to vote for. There's a quiz online I think I did the last time before I voted, and it just gave me, looked at my beliefs and just gave me an advice on who I should vote for. So I don't know, maybe we just take the time to do that. But I just wanted to touch on that. That's what's happening in the news. There's loads happening in the news, but that's just one. Alright, so I want to also try and recommend something to you each week. Something that I've maybe recently come into contact with that I think I would be useful to people, or giving this as a first episode. It could be something that I've been doing for a while. So that's what I want to introduce you to. And a lot of people probably do it, and a lot of people probably recommend this, and it's just a drive to meditate. A lot of people think they can't actually meditate, but it's so not true. So if you ever think I can't meditate because I can't stay in the present moment, I can't sit somewhere for 5 to 10 minutes and not let my thoughts wander and not think about what I've got to cook for tea, what's on my to-do list, anything like that. But that's the point of it. The point of meditation is to actually train your brain to notice when you're doing a task in your everyday life and you're actually not concentrating on that task, or you're not in the present moment because your head's somewhere else. And if you meditate enough, you'll begin to notice that you're picking it up on when you're not in the present moment. And ever since I started meditating 12 months ago, I thought, oh my God, I'm so bad at it. I can't meditate. I can't sit here. I can't feel the sensations in my body. It's not happening for me. But when I accepted the fact that my mind does wander, I come to the conclusion that I actually can sit somewhere for 5 minutes, and if my thoughts wander to something else, I go, bring them back. And I bring them back to the present moment. All you have to do is start counting your breaths, and you find you get back into that routine of meditating, and your thoughts will wander again. It's just normal. But then I always find now that when I'm in a situation and I'm finding myself thinking too far ahead or my mind somewhere else, I think to myself, okay, bring back to the present moment. And that's also meditation's really good for for your self-talk as well. When you find that you're being really negative towards yourself, you can often find yourself picking up on those things and saying, okay, well, let's bring it back because, that's not 100% true because of this. And I find even I will be somewhere, like I'm going on a trip, or I don't know, on a day trip out in the city doing something, and I'm like really excited. I have like got lots planned, and I'll be at one particular moment where I'm thinking about the next thing I'm going to do instead of actually enjoying where I am now. So meditation's also really helped me a lot with that, because I've been somewhere, I've been doing something, and I've been thinking about the next thing I'm going to do, and I think to myself, okay, well, hold up, look where you are right now, bring back to where you are, because you might never live this moment ever again. Well, you won't live this moment ever again, but you might not get back to this place ever again, or you might not do this thing again. So just enjoy where you are now. So if you want to start meditating and you don't know where to start, download the Smiley Mind app. There's Headspace as well, but I find the Smiley Mind app's really good. I haven't come across anything I've had to pay for, and you can pick and choose what you want to do, and there's also like really good activities in there, and one of those examples is the food and being grateful for the food and thinking about what you're eating. But yeah, it's a really good way to start meditating. And now, like, what I do is I just set myself a timer and I'll just sit there, and there's heaps and heaps of different ways you can meditate, which I'm actually going to do a blog post on. But one of them that I really am starting to do now is, and it really helps me stay in the present moment, is meditation, grateful meditation, I think you would call it. It's sitting and actually listing things you're grateful for. And it's amazing how many times I might say the same thing every single day, but it just puts things into perspective so much more, and I'm finding I'm a lot more grateful and just happier because I'm enjoying meditation. Sometimes I just go, I'm just going to do it because it's recommended you do it, but now I actually really enjoy just taking 5 minutes to just sit there and not have anywhere else to be and just be in that moment. So you don't even need to meditate that long. I mean, Smiley Mind has bite-sized ones, which are like 3 minutes. But I mean, even if you start with 5 minutes a day, I'm kind of at 5 minutes at the moment. Whether I extend it or not, I probably will have to. But yeah, just take that time and just give yourself 5 minutes. And really, it's a perfect opportunity to just have a break. And even if you make it part of your morning routine, your night routine, yeah, I really recommend it. So that's my recommendation for this week. Let me know if you try it or if you do meditate, and if you've got like any suggestions on how to meditate better. I mean, I'm always looking for recommendations myself, so yeah, definitely give me some suggestions. Okay, so this segment is actually one that I think will be really a lot of fun coming summer and when I'm not heavily saving to go on holidays. But I wanted to add a segment on a story of the week, and hopefully this will be one that will be from over the weekend. I'm now recording on a Friday night, but I'll probably do it on a Sunday as part of a routine. So story of the week really probably be about something funny that's happened over the weekend, and I can assure you I have an endless list of stories and antics with my friends. So I'll probably drag some of those out as well if I don't have one. This week I don't have one. I was meant to go out tonight with some friends from back home, but we decided we would be responsible adults and save some money because 2 of them are going to Europe in like 28 days and I'm going to Vietnam in November, and we've got loads in between. So yeah, I'm probably going to share one with you today. Okay, so it was about November when I first moved to Melbourne. I was out for work drinks. We had someone that was leaving the business, and we don't usually have drinks because I work over the other side of the city, so getting to the city is really hard, but we went into Melbourne. We ended up at Crown after a rooftop, and there was a few of us, and we were at Groove Bar, and they had like an 80s band, and not really somewhere I'd usually go, but it was a lot of fun. And I had just recently got back from a netball trip away, which is just essentially where heaps of girls go away and party, and they have the football trip equivalent, and as part of it you get stubby holders. And I turned around and I saw a guy with a football trip stubby holder on his wrist. So in post netball trip depression, I was like, I'm going to go up and have a chat. So went up to him and asked him if he's on a footy trip, and he said that they were from Perth. So I was kind of quizzing them, wondering where they were going out, and they had no idea. So their idea of going out was to Groove Bar for one, and they had Revolver on their list. So I wrote them a little list, and then I took them under my wing and we went upstairs to the Crown Level 3 nightclub, which on a Friday night is R&B Friday, and there was a huge group of them, and majority didn't get let in because only 2 of them had collared shirts on. So anyway, just 2 of us went, well, me and 2 others went up to level 3 and had a great time. Yeah, had heaps and heaps of Jaeger bombs. We had a dance, and then we thought, oh, we'll go have a gamble. So we went downstairs, finally found out their names. Not sure what they are now, but that's fine. And we were playing blackjack, I think. And then I was like, well, I'm hungry. Let's go get food. Went to the food court, had a kebab, and they were telling me that I was now officially part of the footy trip, and that I was now coming to Derby Day, which was the following day. After explaining to them I didn't have a dress and that I was heading back to where I'm from for the weekend, they were adamant that they were going to take me shopping to get a dress the next morning, and then I was coming to Derby Day and I was one of the boys and it was time for me to come on a footy trip. But no, that was not going to happen. So yeah, I did the mature thing, the mature Mariah thing, and I left. After hearing, Mariah, come back, I kept walking. I was like, it is 5 o'clock in the morning, I need to go home. So I hopped on the 75 home, which was a 24-hour tram, it still is, and it went pretty much right out the front of my house. So got on the tram, and it was a Friday night, so I had nearly been up 24 hours, so I decided to have a little kip. That kip turned into a nap, which turned into sleep. Conveniently woke up 2 stops before mine, which was very, very convenient. So yeah, that was one of the many people I've met in Melbourne before, just from being out with a group of people and essentially ditching them to meet new people. They're what I like to call 24-hour friends. So they're your friends you meet and your friends for 24 hours or less. Majority of the time you don't remember their names, and if you end up getting them on social media, then you never interact with them. So yeah, that's one of the stories. I'm sure I'll have many more to tell. I have many more to tell, but I'm sure I'll make more in the next coming months and as we lead into summer. So this part of my podcast, I want to share a blog that I've posted. So I have a blog called A Traveller's Antiques, and a lot of my stories involve travel and places that I've been around Melbourne and tips on travel. But recently I've started doing a bit more like mindfulness because it's something that I've really grown a lot of interest in, and concepts on like how to improve your life. So this week's blog, which you can read it, I'll pop the link in the show notes, is about starting your miracle morning. And for those who didn't catch that one, it's a concept called The Miracle Morning, a book written by Hal Elwood. In his book, he discusses the idea that getting up an hour earlier to take control of your life can have some incredible effects on your goals and just what you can achieve. So I guess we also, he did mention in his podcast that I recently listened to that he doesn't really believe in the law of attraction, but that's something he taps into as well. And I feel like this whole concept of the miracle morning links to the law of attraction. And the law of attraction is essentially part of a movie and a book called The Secret. And what The Secret is if you think positive thoughts, positive things will come to you. If you think you want something, you'll get it. The universe will answer your questions. I also have a blog on that, which you can listen to. I'll pop that in the notes as well. But really, it's once you start to proactively take control of your life, good things will come and you'll have time to do more things, because whether you do it in the morning or whether you do things in the morning that will free up time during your day, I just feel like you have more time to really concentrate on what's important to you. So I'm telling you, it's worth it. Once you spend the morning just focusing on where you want to change your life, it really just opens up your day. So really what he talks about in the book is savers. So essentially that stands for silence, affirmations, vision, exercise, reading, and scribing. So silence can be meditation, affirmations, obviously, your words that you say to yourself or your dedicated sentences that really set your day up and tell you what you can achieve and really like reinforce where you can be and what you can do, and just a bit of like positive self-talk really. And then vision is like where you see yourself and what you want to achieve. Some people do vision boards, that kind of thing. Exercise is pretty self-explanatory. Reading, he talks about reading, a lot of self-help, things that are going to improve your life and really enrich your life and guide you. And then scribing is writing, so whether you do a little journal, whether you just write down ideas. So he wants you essentially, he advises you to essentially break up your morning into those, aspects. So those 6 things that he thinks will change your life. And I do something a little bit different. A lot of the stuff I can do after work or at night time. But what I essentially do is I wake up and I do lay in bed for a little bit, and then I'll watch a vision video that I've made, and I'll put that in the show notes as well. And it's really who's important to me in my life, where I want to be and where I have been. So it's like showing me, why I'm doing this, who I'm doing it for, and what I want to do in life, and then what I have done, because I feel like I have done some great things, and you lose track of that in day-to-day life, and you never really reflect on, hang on, like I've done some cool stuff. So it's always good to, remind yourself of that. Then I read, but I don't read self-help. I'm usually at one time reading 2 books. So self-help, I find I can't just read them religiously, like read 10 pages at a time. I like to read a couple of pages. It might take me a while, but I feel like I absorb it more. So I just read anything. I think reading is really important. So the moment I'm reading Harry Potter, I'll just read whatever you want. You don't have to read self-help. Just anything that makes you, feel that little bit happier, or like really gets your brain going, really. Then I'll learn a bit of Spanish. So I'm really keen on learning Spanish and learning a different language. So yeah, I'll do the Duolingo app Spanish. And then I'll do some exercise, whether it's a bit of yoga, or I do a bit of HIIT, just to get me active. Or some days I might even just go for a run, or spend more time. I generally spend a lot more time on the exercise part rather than the other things. And then I'll go through like my to-do list and see if there's anything I can quickly tick off in 10 minutes. And also I look at my goals. I've got goals written down for 2018. I look at them and I think, where am I at and what can I do to, further my goals for the year? So that's essentially my miracle morning. And I'll go to work feeling so much better. I get up at 10 to 5 every day, but it really just like opens you up to so much. Like you can see the potential you can do it in just an hour, or mine's a little bit more, but it just really like keeps you focused. And then you have your day to focus on your work and bettering your work and improving your work, or focusing on your relationships and developing relationships with people around you, because you're not worried about your to-do list. You're not worried about, because you've already gone through that in the morning before anyone had even woken up. So read my blog, check it out. That was just a short summary of it. Get some affirmations as well. Even if you don't want to do a miracle morning, affirmations are so important because they just keep you focused. And like some of mine are even just like, don't be too hard on yourself, trust your judgment, those kinds of things, like really empower you, or just give you guidance, and just don't be too hard on yourself in general, because negative talk is so common. And if you can just do these affirmations every day, and just like over time you'll really start to believe them, and you'll notice a massive difference in your self-esteem. So Miranda Kerr actually has a book. I'll put it in the show notes as well. I read it when I was probably 18, 19, and she has some really good affirmations. I think I copied a lot of hers. So check out her book if you want to start somewhere, because she's really incredible actually. Next week I'll be sharing some more exciting books. So we're coming to the end of the podcast. Generally, I would really love to get people to write in and send me questions. Obviously, I don't even know if anyone's going to listen to this, to be honest. But if you do have a question, I don't even care what it's about. Like, this podcast is going to be super random. So we can turn it into like some form of drinking Never Have I Ever game or whatever. But I don't know. Just send me anything you want me to answer, whatever. And just email me at Mariah_McInnes22@msn.com. And yeah, I have an MSN, I know. But in my younger days, I did not have a Mariah_is_2_hot email address. And this is one I made. I was actually pretty young, and I'm way too lazy to change it. Not that I'm lazy, I just would have to change it in so many things. So I do want to get my own email, but they cost money, and right now it's not a priority. So email me on that email address if you have any questions. I'm really interested to see what you have. And really, I just want to finish the podcast with a quote, I think, every week. There won't always be podcasts where I'm super motivational. I'm just feeling really motivational this week. So one of them, the one I want to share this week, it's really powerful. And when I try to remember when I think of people who might have hurt me or like done wrongly by me, I find in like today's world, I guess, we we hold on to things, and sometimes we find it really hard to let go of the past. And I think that was something I really struggle with, letting go of people that have done wrongly by me, and just accepting the fact that if I was in their shoes, I probably would have done the same thing, and I probably have done the same thing to people. So I think this one's really, really important, and it's forget what you give, never forget to forgive. So basically, don't dwell on what you do for others, even if you don't get it in return. People might do things for you and you don't return it to them. So really think about that, but also never forget to forgive. I think forgiveness is important in moving on, and really I've only just started to realise that in the last couple of months. So yeah, I think if we just take a step back and think about what has happened to us in our past and where we can create a bit of forgiveness, I think it's more just like for your own self. You don't have to forgive that person, by telling them. It's more just mentally for yourself. So yeah, and like I said, you might have done the same thing in their shoes. So just take a minute to think about, what you would have done, or how you can just move on and just mentally forgive. So yeah, and I have a blog that has probably already come out, and this week it's on packing for travel. So essentially just what to pack, how to pack, little tips and tricks on packing. My friends always say, what am I packing? What do I need to pack? And generally I write a list for them. I don't know why, because my bag is always over, like always. But yeah, I think it's one of those things, the more you do it, the more you, the easier it gets, essentially. So check out my blog if you're traveling anywhere soon, because it might be really helpful. And I've got a couple of links in there of like products that you could potentially buy. So check that one out. I want to end the podcast. I'm going to sign off, but I want to end the podcast in like a recap of my week. So what I'm going to do, and I've only done it for the last 2 days, is when I'm somewhere or doing something, I want to like record what I'm doing and like tell you guys if there's anything I think is meaningful or, actually has purpose. So I've got a couple from this week. So I'll sign off and then I'll play them at the end. But anyway, that's it for me. I've been trying to think of something I could sign off on, but I think I'll just go with just love yourself. No one else will if you don't. That you can't love anyone else, and you can't expect anyone to love you if you don't love yourself. So just think about that, and maybe try and write down or think about something you love about yourself right now. So do that after you've listened to this. And one more thing, I'm going to do this fortnightly, so the next edition I'll actually be at where I'm from, my local town, Football Netball League Grand Final, and hopefully we have some of our footballers in it because they play this weekend. So it'll be interesting. I might even try and record stuff from wherever we are at some point. So yeah, alright, catch ya, and just listen to what I've got from this week. Alright, bye.
Just did a run 10k for the first time in probably 3 weeks. And it's actually incredible how much running improves your mental health. It's a Friday, and I'm ready for the weekend of not drinking. Let's see how that goes. So, there's one tip I would give you guys, is just go for a run, and the more you do it, the better you feel about it. I know lots of people get really bored with running, so even if you do like 2 or 3Ks, if you do that a couple of times a week, or even once, that's going to make such an impact on your mental health, and you easily feel better about yourself and life, and the more you run, the more likely you are to enjoy it, because I always find if I have a few weeks off, I struggle to get back into it. Like tonight, I was really dreading it, and hopefully now I can do it consistently, and I'll feel a lot better. So now, I'm going to treat myself to some truffle oil pasta. I'm super excited about that. Alright, bye.